The medical side of things will, if they see an ovarian cyst that's getting big, they'll say, get it cut out.
Yes.
And you can cut things out for a short-term effect, but you're not getting to the root cause of the problem on an energetic level. And that's the same when you're taking.
And so it could probably just come
balanced
back.
medicines. Yes, they do. And in many cases they come back.
Yeah.
So in terms of our womb, there's a lot of that childhood experience, that childhood energy, mother-daughter, father-daughter relationships, and going into that space where you felt lonely, trapped, isolated as a child. There's a huge amount that will come up around that. Also, ex-partners.
You're listening to the Closer Than You Think podcast, where female entrepreneurs are committed to healing, growth, and liberation in all areas of their life. I'm Tahnya, and I'm an ex-corporate brand and marketing strategist turned trauma-informed internal family systems therapist, human design and gene keys guide, multi-passionate creative entrepreneur, and podcast host. I'm obsessed with raising the frequency of the planet, and through my gifts of empathy, perspective, and embodiment, I help entrepreneurs gain deeper self-awareness about the resistance they're experiencing on their ascension journey. I infuse my deep understanding of psychology, energy, and shadow work to support my clients in raising their emotional intelligence and reclaiming their power in all areas of their life, so ultimately they can craft their own destiny. Together, we unravel decades of conditioning and shame so they can conquer self-sabotage, liberate their mind, open their heart, and lead themselves to success and beyond. I'm committed to sharing so much magic and wisdom by interviewing the most incredibly talented and devoted creatives, healers, and entrepreneurs to support you on your transformation journey to more freedom, fulfillment, joy, and good karma. And remember, no matter what challenges you're facing in life or how undesirable the circumstances, no matter how lost, stuck, and frustrated you might feel, there's always a bigger plan. And if you trust that and commit to riding the waves of life with grace and courage, you're closer than you think. Today's guest is a fertility expert, energy healer, mother, CEO of Oh My Mama Body, and YouTuber. She's been helping women understand their bodies and helping them get pregnant since 2019, primarily through her wildly successful YouTube channel with currently over 50,000 subscribers. It was her own fertility journey which led her to create a coaching business. Vicki had 5 miscarriages and understands the trauma and stress that comes with an experience like this. She's found deep fulfillment and joy in helping other women with their own fertility journeys by speaking openly and honestly about her own. So many women face fertility problems alone, and it's Vicki's mission to provide a safe and nurturing space for women to reconnect to their wombs and natural feminine cycles through community and coaching. Hi, Vicki. Welcome to the Closer Than You Think podcast. I'm so excited to have you today. So I guess before we jump into all the exciting, juicy questions, I'd just love to know, actually for those listening, I don't know if you remember, Vicki, but I met you way back when we were in the SFM community.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Goes way back now, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, I probably haven't mentioned this a whole lot, but I started my online business journey back in the end of 2017, I would say. And it was with a company called SFM, which is the Six Figure Mentors. And they were all teaching us all about how to just start an online business. And I was really thankful for that community. It's a very empathic community of entrepreneurs. And and I met a lot of amazing people, and Vicki is one of those people. I've, had many pivots in my business since, but Vicki, you've really found your calling and what you're doing and your purpose. And it's amazing to just have watched you grow. So, I'm super excited to have this chat with you. But before we get into it, I'd just love to know from your own words, your story and how you came into this. And you can be as vulnerable as you want. It's a safe space.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'll go back to around 2012, in my early 30s, feeling really ready to become a mother. And really wasn't prepared for what was in front of me before. I think for anyone who then steps into a fertility journey, it takes you by a complete shock. You just think everything's going to work out. You're going to become a mother and that's it. But no, life took me on a completely different journey. And, through my experiences altogether, I had 7 pregnancies. I lost 5 babies in early pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
I've got 2 wonderful boys with me now. And I'm very intuitive, I've always been an energy healer and really in tune with my body. And going through this journey, I realized, gosh, there's so much happening in our bodies, well, it is when we're going through pregnancy. But there was many things that were, let's just call them weird and wonderful, things where your mind starts spinning out of control a bit. We start overthinking what's wrong with this, and you start looking up things on the internet and just going down a complete rabbit warren of, oh, it could be this, it could be this. And you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to die or am I okay today? And on my 3rd pregnancy, I realized things that I was experiencing in my body were actually linked to pregnancy hormones. When I made that link, I was feeling one day that I was numb on my face. Have I got this Paul's palsy? Have I just had a stroke? And then a few days later, it would be gone. The more research I did, I just found out this is pregnancy hormones, which led me to start writing things down. And this is where I come to that SFN that we talked about at the beginning, because I was doubting myself. I wasn't sure, okay, I really want to help other women. How am I going to do it? Am I going to write a PDF document and put it online? Who's going to see it? Does anyone want to read it? Is it worth it? And then doubting myself again. And then the next step, I'm going to create a website. I really want to help. There was always this urge inside me. I really want to help other women to understand their bodies. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, because it is so niche what you're doing. But it's so necessary. And I find that when people really find their thing and they've also been through that journey, it's just it's so helpful and comforting to other people. Like even when I think about my own journey, I started off teaching people about narcissism. Like I had many just terrible relationships in my 20s and learned a lot about childhood trauma and all of these things. And I found that a lot of people who were going to therapists and all of this just didn't have the real life experience or weren't diagnosing things properly. And people were just so confused about certain things. So yeah, when we find that thing that we really can help people with, it's so important to spread the word.
Yes, it's just inside of you, isn't it? Yeah.
But I'm it's just heartbreaking to me that you had that many miscarriages. Were they miscarriages?
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Like, what was that like to go through that?
At the time, it was very, oh gosh, so emotional. But you just are thinking, what is wrong with my body? Did I do something wrong? A lot of self-blame.
Was it like one after the other?
It was quite close together. It was in a period of around 18 months when that happened. Yeah. Like quite early on. So in the end, I'd be going to work and trying to do my day job as a project manager. And in the back of your head the whole time, you just can't stop thinking about it. You cannot concentrate on your work. So also facing problems with work colleagues, because I'm not showing up as I should be. So, it wasn't just my personal life. It was going into the office and showing up. And that was really, really hard for me because I couldn't tell anybody what I was going through. Well, I didn't want to tell anybody either at the time. I was really going through it all on my own.
That must be a big thing. Like, so is there still like a stigma around not sharing that, or is it because you just didn't feel safe to share it with anyone there anyway, even if they encouraged you or invited you to do so?
I would say it's both.
Okay.
It's very, very personal what you're going through, and a lot of women blame themselves. So when you're in that place of, I've done something wrong, it's really hard to open up and share with people. Also not wanting to tell an employer that you're trying to get pregnant. That's also a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
and
I mean, of course, like, you know, that's such a personal journey. But I mean, I guess what are your thoughts on, you know, women in the workplace now? Like, do you think certain things need to be normalized? You know, I think, and just, I mean, being entrepreneurs ourselves, like, I mean, so much of the reason I wanted to start a business, because I know I'm like, I can't be in just a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job like for the rest of my life. And when you have children, it's like so many women are starting to think about these different paths. Do you think there is like a movement towards it being normalized, or do you think it's just still not normal, like for women to talk about, I mean, even maternity leave and all of these things, like women are just not fully supported in the workforce?
I think it really varies from country to country, from employer to employer as well.
Okay.
You know, ladies will come to the channel, my YouTube channel, and they'll be talking about going back to work within like 3-4 weeks of having their baby, pregnancy times. Yeah, it really does depend on your employer, and things like maternity leave as well. Either they support it or they don't. I mean, I've worked in some companies where it's totally male driven, male dominated, and you know, you wouldn't want to talk about getting pregnant. And also a lot of women will see it as stopping their career still, or pushing pregnancy. Let's get pregnant in my mid-30s, and pushing it really far out just so you can get up that career ladder far enough before you get into it. So it's still very
I think
topic.
on a collective level, for sure, I think there's still, I mean, we live in a man's world in a sense, like it's built by men for men. So anyway, I'm excited for the day where I can you know, run a business and invite that in. So, you know, like, I just think if you're hiring women and they are like, you'd rather know about it. I'd rather know about it and be prepared for it and celebrate it, rather than it be all this secret thing. But anyway, so that must have been really hard, like, to go through all that. And then what kind of support did you have through that? Did you find yourself just in like going in like and just being like, okay, like I'm blaming myself, or I'm feeling all these things and I don't really know who to turn to? Or were you feeling like, or did you have support in some way, or did that kind of lead you down the path that you're on now? Or how did that kind of unfold for you? Because I can't imagine like 5, like that's just one after the other. You'd just be in a pretty desperate place.
And you're right, that led me to go inwards, because at the time, if you rewind back to around 2012-13, there wasn't any Instagram yet, or it was just starting up, and no one really talked about fertility issues unless you could find a support group somewhere. But I'm also living in a different country to my mother tongue. I live in Germany, and I don't feel comfortable around, you know, expressing myself in a way. And so I was on my own. I was really on my own at the time. But as an energy healer, you know, I was doing this energy healing in my early 20s, learning healing with the hands, theta healing, a lot of techniques, which I'd actually pushed to one side during my fertility struggles. I kind of forgotten about them in a way. And I realized I need to go back into them. This is going to help me. You know, I'm an outgoing person, I'm adventurous, and, you know, that's my life. And I can't sit around feeling sorry for myself. I also believe that there was something deeper, a lot deeper going on. You know, when you've had 5 miscarriages, you start wondering, okay, what is it in my energy flow that I can look into as well? So that's what I started doing, which is what really, everything that I discovered and healed within my own body is what I'm now helping other ladies with. So from my own journey and from the struggles of actually being able to create something really supportive and helpful for so many women around the world.
It's so amazing. It's a good point you brought up. Like back in 2012, social media was really not a thing. Like it was just very, very small. Like I remember I was in university at that time, and Facebook was like brand new. Like no one was using it the way that they are now. So and I just think how far we've come with the information world, and how much information is available to us today, and how much more communities are thriving online. Like, it's really, really amazing. But back when you would have needed that support, it just wasn't as available. So so yeah, what was then the kind of next steps, like, and how did you then get pregnant, and how did you kind of find the way through to the light?
I did a lot of inner work. I really did a lot, even though I thought I'd done so much in my early 20s. So when I'm talking about inner work, I'm talking about going within your body, finding where you could have energy blockages, healing inner child, really going deep into what am I holding on to within my body that's creating these blockages in my fertility system, my reproductive system. There was a lot for me in terms of mother-daughter relationship, things that I was really holding a massive grudge around, a lot of negativity. So daily practice, going into my self-healing, affirmations, journaling, bringing in that positive flow into my life. Because from a negative place, and especially inside your womb, you know, if your womb is holding on to a lot of negative energy, how is it going to even hold on to life?
And did you find that your environment impacted that a lot? Did you say you're from Germany, or?
I live in Germany.
Okay. So yeah, did you find that your environment impacted you a lot, or was it more like an internal thing again?
It's very internal. So I live in a beautiful area in the country, lots of nature around me. So that was okay for me.
That's
so
beautiful.
It was more for me previous stress, that older stress and trauma that was in my body. However, when you touch on that, then there's a lot of modern everyday stress that women do hold on to. So now when I'm working one-to-one with ladies, there'll be a lot, because, you know, we said at the beginning, we live in a male-driven society and we're completely out of sync with our bodies.
It's so true.
We're not releasing that stress.
It's so true. I can't remember who I was talking to, but it was like, you know, women really do work in cycles. You know, like, we're in the 1 month, the 30 lunar cycle, and it's like men don't operate that way. And for so many of us, we're living in, we're so out of sync with our own cycles and our own bodies. I mean, I had my own very much journey with my body, and I mean, I haven't tried to get pregnant as yet, but we will be in the next year or two, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, I very much was a high performing career woman, and it wasn't until I had like this major, I feel like it wasn't a panic attack. It was more like almost like a nervous breakdown. Like my body just shut down. My body just shut down. It was like a depressive kind of almost symptom. It went into like a full on freeze mode. And I actually left my corporate career, and it was a build up over a long time, but my body just shut down. It was just like, no more, like, you're not even listening to me. So just no more. And then I went on like this spiritual hiatus to Bali, and it was amazing, but it was really tough, really, really tough. It was almost like a second spiritual awakening. And I had my own journey with my body and just disassociation and all of that. But and actually a few years before that, I always had really, really painful periods. And I didn't actually know that wasn't normal. I lived with a housemate about a couple of years ago, and she's like a health coach, and she was obsessed with hormones and all this. And she was like, you know, painful periods aren't normal. And I was like, oh, really? I thought everyone kind of just had period pains. And mine were kind of like sometimes really bad, sometimes not so bad. But I did go through a whole process of checking for, is it ovarian cysts, but also, is that the same as polycystic ovaries?
It's a different type of ovarian cyst.
Okay.
They do come under the cysts title.
Yeah, because I was told maybe I had that. And so I went to like many doctors, and I did ultrasounds and all of this. Because I had lots of symptoms of like probably having it, and just even the melasma that I had on my face, and like just certain symptoms that were just like, okay, my hormones are possibly out of whack. And I was vegan as well, and I was really, but I was told that I don't have any of it, but I still, and when I change my diet, it definitely impacts a lot too. But I still experience kind of painful periods. But I was told like, I don't have this and that. So what could be like for women who who they say they don't have, or actually, could you talk a little bit about cysts? And because I know you do a lot with that as well, like, did you find that was also a big part of why you were having the miscarriages? Or
what happened on my journey was after 3 miscarriages, like the medical industry says, okay, now you've had 3, you can go into a fertility center and get checks. I think that's a kind of European norm. Definitely.
Okay.
And
what do they mean get checked? Like, what are you getting checked for though?
Yeah, sure. All sorts of, let me start with the blood tests. The blood tests look at your hormones. So every single stage of your cycle. So the 4 stages of our menstrual cycle, they check how your hormones are going up and down. Is it within the norm? And taking blood to check things like clotting, because blood clotting is also something that causes a lot of miscarriages. It's something that I didn't have. So if you have blood clotting issues, then it could cause the blood not to come through to the baby enough, and then they will, not stay in your womb. And you get lots of internal checks as well. So, checking, is everything open within your womb? Are the fallopian tubes open? How are the ovaries looking? So these internal checks. So there's a lot of going in and letting people poke and prod your body as well, which is also quite a hard part of the fertility journey. So whilst I was having this internal check, they picked up on an ovarian cyst, and an ovarian cyst could affect your fertility if it's blocking. So if it's blocking like the eggs flowing down the fallopian tubes into your womb, or if it's slightly bigger, it could be pressing on things. Mine was quite a standard size one, we call it standard. It was there sort of at the top of my womb, but not really impacting anything. But of course, when I saw this, I was like, what's an ovarian cyst? You go home, you look it up on the internet. Okay, am I going to have cancer? What's going to happen? Your brain everything goes on overdrive again. And through the energy healing work, I've learned that from energy in our body can create physical blockages, right? So the more unresolved trauma, negative energy we have in our body, it can show up as disease. Our body is no longer at ease, it's showing disease. This is also linked to the heavy periods and fibroids, endometriosis. A lot of blockages we have in our womb space are very much related to unresolved trauma, right? This buildup of negative energy. Okay.
Are you familiar with Till Swan's work at all?
I've not heard of them.
So she's a spiritual teacher, and she talks a lot about consciousness and consciousness fragmenting. And whenever I, think about, especially even the fertility journey, but I mean, anything to do with self-sabotage, anything to do with stuckness, anything to do with, even energy. She talks a lot about the consciousness fragmenting, and I'd never heard of that before. And I was like, it makes a lot of sense. I just was curious if you knew about it. But it's not very mainstream, and it's not very talked about. And I'm like, I wonder why, because it makes a lot of sense. And there's many other ways that we can interpret it. Obviously, energy is everything, and all of inside and outside us, and our environment, and all of these things. But with trauma, specifically, I think sometimes like our mind goes to that, like, what's wrong with us type of thing, where this this kind of idea of fragmentation is that we have so many different parts within us, and sometimes it's just some of these parts are vying for our attention and our love and our ability to see them. So anyway, I mean, she's the expert in it, not me, but I just thought it was interesting. And I was just wondering.
It's so true. I say the womb is like our second heart. We really easily connect with our hearts, and we feel our emotions in our heart. And yet when our womb is crying out for help, showing us, hey, please take attention, pay attention. We're like, oh yeah, periods, heavy periods, it's normal. And because
I know
society is kind of programmed us to think that, right? And it's not.
You know what, I'm just realizing how important, this journey, like for women especially, like our wombs and fertility. And actually I did a lot of ancestral healing on my journey as well, even when I started my business, because I started noticing the patterns of self-sabotage and all of these things that I just in my corporate career was just not even I was not even aware of. Like, I didn't even need to look at it. And it wasn't until I started my business that I was like, okay, there are so many upper limits here. There are so many self-sabotaging and resistance that I felt. And I did a lot of ancestral healing, and a lot of that had to do with the womb as well, because it's connected to our mothers and our grandmothers and all of these things. And I was like, you know what, I really never really took the time to love on my womb and just connect to it, because especially if you're a corporate woman, if you're a woman in like a very male dominated industry, which I worked with like only men for like 5 years. And I think especially any high performing woman who is in a corporate career, or, even if you're just in a 9 to 5 and you're just in this busy kind of stressful environments that just disconnect you from your womanhood. Like the first thing, we do is disconnect from our wombs and like the cycles that you talked about. And it's like, and fertility is probably the most important thing that women need to think about, and one of the hardest journeys they'll probably ever go through if they do have challenges with it, because it's also I don't know if the word is taboo, but like it's also it's a personal journey, so people are not as inclined to maybe talk about it openly. And so I'm just realizing how important this is. So
Yeah, it really is. This womb connection, connecting in with our wombs, and simple things like when you wake up first thing in the morning, place a hand over your heart and a hand over your womb and come into your inner flow, your feminine flow, rather than getting up, looking at your phone, letting the world take you. Come into your body first.
Yes, which is again, it comes back to the feminine power, isn't it? The feminine energy. And one thing for me that I have had reflected back to me a lot is also the analytical and the logical side, which is the very masculine side of me, and just the world that we live in. And I've even though I'm very much into energy and I consider myself a spiritual person, it's like I still there's a part of me that just kind of defaults back into that very logical and analytical thing, and I have to come back into my body. It's a very conscious practice, and I have to make sure I come back into my body, because I can either feel myself disassociating or just going into that logical analytical place, and it just doesn't serve us as much as women. It just doesn't. And I think
it's great to be able to recognize that. You
and
can find your balance again.
And the more us women who really advocate and for feminine power and coming back into our bodies and all of this, it's so important, because we need to bring the balance back into the world, into the world. So
True.
So then we were talking about cysts. I think you don't know if you finished on that.
Yeah, so, okay, I was going into my cyst, exactly connecting in with what am I holding on to inside of there? What's the energy inside? And that's where I got really into that mother-daughter relationship, which was a huge thing for me.
Okay.
And very much working on sending love and forgiveness around that, and also working on that relationship in the present day with my mother as well. How I felt about everything. I'd really distanced myself, blocked myself off. And when you think, okay, I blocked myself off, and I'm blocking the energy, and this is causing blocks in my womb space. So the womb being our feminine core. That's why we hold on to so much in there. working on that every single day. It's around 6 weeks later, I went for my next ultrasound during all these fertility checks, and it just wasn't there anymore. It'd been released.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was real confirmation for me.
So
I
they
had
didn't,
know
when they
how this was
discovered it,
working.
they didn't tell you anything about it. You just went on your own journey with it. They didn't
That's
say
right.
it was like,
Mhm.
they didn't say it was benign or anything.
No, and they can only really do that if they take, a sample out of it
Uh-huh.
and go and test it. So they wanted to monitor it. Yeah, that happens to a lot of
Okay.
ladies as well. They'll get that initial scan and they'll see the cyst, and you don't get
Okay.
that much information. You go away and your head starts spinning.
And you just start
So, yeah, it's
stressing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally normal
Okay.
to
And
do
then
that,
so you
right?
went back, was it how much, a few weeks or a few months or later, and it was
It's
gone?
around 6 weeks later. Yeah, it
Wow.
was gone. Hmm.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I think as women, it's quite common, isn't it, to have just cysts that are benign or,
Hmm. Yeah. Many won't even realize that they've got them unless they are going for an ultrasound for some reason.
right.
Yeah, but some can get bigger ones and like quite big. And first of all, you might think that your stomach's bloating, or then you might feel pain because it's pressing on something, and then you will find out. And again, that is even more stressful and worrying if you have got that situation where it is causing you pain and really impacting your everyday life.
Yeah. So then how did you transition from, because you said it was affecting your work, like when you were working.
Mhm.
So how did that go? Like, did you end up quitting, or did you get pregnant and then you quit? Or like, how did you navigate and manage all of that going on?
Mhm. That's right. Yeah. So I got pregnant then with my fifth baby, my fifth little one, and I carried on. I just carried on through it. I've got very strong, strong will, so I
Yeah.
carried on through, pushed myself on through, and also taking a lot of time for myself and working on my inner energy. And when he, when he was born, I had maternity leave. So here we get a year maternity leave. So I spent that beautiful time with him, and also
Yeah.
wanted to get pregnant again very, very fast.
Yeah.
So during that time, I
Yeah.
did get pregnant again. That was unfortunately another miscarriage, which is another really huge thing to go through between, because I really wanted to have my babies close together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then lucky number 7, I call him, came through.
Wow.
I'd also gone back to work by then as well.
Yeah.
And, just really pushing myself on through that. But I knew, I was like, this isn't my life anymore. I'm changing because I'm going to help other women to understand their bodies, to heal their bodies. And of course, I needed a source of income still coming in whilst I started learning how to create something online that was going to be visible to help others. Yeah, so I only finished like full-time work in 2020 whilst I was building a YouTube channel, building a website
I know,
presence,
you've
and
had such
learning how
amazing
to create
success.
courses.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much to learn. There's this passion and drive inside of me all the way.
Yes.
This message is coming out. I really, really.
This is your purpose, like your
need to
soul
help.
purpose. Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so how is it now? How is it now with your 2 babies and running a business and being an entrepreneur? And you're still in Germany?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, life is, it's busy and it's a continual learning journey. Life is so fast with all the changes that are online, social media, working out all the different social media channels, and because you need to be present, you need to be there for people to see you, to find you, and understanding how that works on a website as well. So there's a lot of managing and balancing, and for me it's really important to be there for my children. They're now 9 and 7. They're very sporty, so mama watching them play sport, that's a huge thing for them. And I love being able to show up. I mean, I could sit and work for hours and hours and hours. I've got so many things I still want to create and do. But my children, they're going through that fertility journey. They are so, so important. And
yes, of
course.
course.
You don't want to miss a thing either there. So
So it's just managing and balancing the time and
Yeah. A lot of self-care as well. You really need to look after yourself, because when you're a mother, you're giving away a lot of energy.
Yes.
Being a healer, also helping
Yes,
others, giving away a lot of energy.
totally.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
very very much so. And do you work one-on-one, or how can women work with you? Like, is it mainly one-on-one? Or you have programs, or how do you suggest people start their journeys?
Yes, I have both. I have a group level womb tribe. So womb has two M's in it, because my YouTube channel is called Oh My Mama Body, OMMB. And I discovered when I put a W in front of that, I've got womb. So that's really beautiful that it came together. It wasn't planned that way.
Awesome. Yeah.
So now I have my womb tribe, and the womb tribe is for that ongoing motivation, helping you start off into your womb healing journey if you aren't ready for one-to-one, or you just want to discover it. I support with embodied journaling. So embody is really going into your body and then writing it and feeling it. And I do breath work. Breath work is so great for this everyday release and relaxing your nervous system, reducing stress as well. It also includes a new moon womb healing, which actually going to be later on today. It's the new moon. Was the new moon yesterday? So we always do that. That's an amazing group togetherness. That's a wonderful place, my tribe. So ladies can join my womb tribe.
And
it's
that's
a
on
monthly
Facebook?
membership. It's on an app. I've got my own app now.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to go away from Facebook, that when we're doing womb healing, we're concentrated on ourselves and not getting distracted.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I do one-to-one work as well. Yeah, it's going really, really deep into the womb space, and not only doing the healing with ladies, helping ladies. It's really important for me that ladies also understand how they can do it for themselves, the self-womb healing, and connecting in with their wombs, discovering the energies, that they can continue that work, because it is a continuous journey, womb work, because we are building up stress every day in our lives. We still need to keep on releasing it, so our wombs stay nice and flowing and balanced and healthy. Yeah.
And what are some tips that, women can get to either decrease the stress? Like, would you say before they start trying to get pregnant, or is it like what would you suggest they do before they start their journey, or if they're thinking about getting pregnant?
Yes, it's wonderful if you can start your womb connection earlier on, or even as an everyday practice routine before you even start thinking about it. I don't think we do we? Once we get on our fertility journey, we're like, oh gosh, I need to look into these things. So what I really suggest is that heart womb connection is absolutely beautiful. Really tuning in to feel into your womb energy. And if you're noticing that you do have painful periods, or your periods are really heavy, or your periods are irregular, then it's already a sign for womb connection. And my most straightforward, simplest tip is to, when you wake up in the morning, place a hand over your heart and a hand over your womb and breathe in. When you feel that love in your heart, we can all feel that loving energy in our heart, and then sending that down into our womb and letting our womb fill up and glow with that beautiful light. So you're really connecting in and creating that flow within your womb space. And once you start building that up, things will start showing up for you. We're all different kind of essential beings. Some of us are touchy feely, others are visual, some ladies see colors, and once you get that energy flow going, you will start being able to communicate with your womb and building that up. I do have a free guide around my 5 steps to womb healing, and ladies can go through and practice on themselves. It's a really nice way to get more deeply connected with your womb and start understanding and discovering, am I holding on to things inside, and how can I start healing and clearing and releasing them?
And do you think for a lot of women, like what are some of the are there specific, I don't know if the word is symptoms, but like you said, like the connection with your mother or the grandmother, or is there like, is it a parental thing? Is it like, are there certain things that women can look out for or think about that would affect their womb and their journey with healing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's one thing to know, like, okay, yes, these are the symptoms and now I'm going to heal it. But what about, are there any root causes that could affect maybe it? And because, you hear a lot of people who, with trauma anyway, say you have a symptom, or like for me, I had these patterns that would just kept showing up in my life, in my relationships. And it's like, I would think that I would fix something and then the same pattern would show up again. And you're just like, why does this keep happening? And then it's not until I get to the root of the thing and really understand it and heal that like root kind of wound, or which for me it usually comes from a person, like a relationship wound. But and then even then it's still hard to shift the patterns, but it's like you've healed the root and now you can focus more on the conscious patterns. So I'm just wondering, like with the womb, are there certain like root causes that people can look out for or think about in their life?
Yeah, and I love that you say root causes as well, because that's what I talk about on the healing as well. Because just going off on a tangent shortly, the medical side of things will, if they see an ovarian cyst that's getting big, they'll say, get it cut out.
Yes.
And you can cut things out for a short-term effect, but you're not getting to the root cause of the problem on an energetic level. And that's the same when you're taking,
and so it could probably just come
balanced
back.
medicines. Yes, they do. In many cases they come back. Yeah. So in terms of our womb, there's a lot of that childhood experience, that childhood energy, mother-daughter, father-daughter relationships, and going into that space where you felt lonely, trapped, isolated as a child. There's a huge amount that will come up around that. Also ex-partners. We have allowed our space, our feminine core to be shared. We've shared it. Sorry. And we hold on to that energy. There's so much energy of ex-partners going on because the space hasn't been separated and cut the cords. Huge amount around that. But then it will get very specific for each lady what they're deeply holding on to.
I love that you brought that up, because
Mm-hmm.
sexual energy is also another quite taboo topic, but so big for women and their wombs, because sexual energy is the energy of creation. It's like it is the most powerful force and energy in the world. And for some reason it's still, so taboo and all these things. But so much of just ex-partners, relationships.
That energy continues to be pulled away from us, and we're still giving our energy away.
And we think just because someone's not in our lives anymore doesn't mean that the energy is not still in our bodies if we haven't consciously cleared it or healed it. Or that makes so much sense.
And so I go on a much deeper level as well. I'm a shamanic healer. I am very, very visual healer. I can help ladies to really dive deep into their bodies, and I'll see situations, things that they're holding on to. It could be that childhood experience. It could be from the time inside their mother's womb, or going back even further, past lives or generational patterning. So that's where I can help ladies go to that extra step deeper, to that real deep root cause.
Wow. I've already referred a couple of people to you, actually. I've had some women reach out who are entrepreneurs themselves, but they're also like on a fertility journey. And I was like, you should check out Oh My Mama Body on YouTube. And because there's no one that I really know that's really doing the deep work in such a niche way like you are. Thank you for your work, and for everything that you do for women, and just connecting women back to their feminine power and their feminine wisdom. And it's made me definitely think about how I can be more consciously connecting to my own womb every single day, and remembering that, and yeah, and just really doing that just more intentionally as well. Because again, I think just the society that we live in, like we're so busy, and we're so, you know, there's so many influences that take us away, from our truth and our bodies. So I really can't advocate enough as well for women to work with someone like yourself, like work with people one-on-one. I think it's one of the most transformative things that you can do, and one of the most healing things you can do if you find the right person. It can really, really, you know, help you on your journey, and to just like not be afraid of it and feel into it. Yeah, maybe do some of the free things first and really dip your toes in. But yeah, my biggest transformations have come from working with, you know, healers, and yeah.
And it's transformations not only on your fertility, on the fertile side of things, it's also that inner work. It's going to bring you that strength and confidence and flow in your life, and that is a beautiful transformation. I love it where the ladies are working with me and they start clearing the blockages in their womb, and they open up into their true self. And got ladies who start playing an instrument again, or joined a band because they absolutely love singing. They're finding themselves again. That's just wow.
Yeah, it is such a
mind-blowing what
personal
happens.
transformation journey, because it comes back to like remembering who we really are. And what was I going to say? Actually, that brings me to another question, maybe just about, you know, I attended a baby shower, actually an online baby shower on Saturday, and it was so beautiful. And I was just thinking, you know, the journey from maiden to mother, because we don't really get a lot of those initiations, or a lot of those kind of like a baby shower is kind of like that, but it's not like a full-on ceremony where you really get kind of initiated from like maiden to mother, because I mean there's so much that goes into being a mum, and like it would be just different. Like, would you say that you learnt a lot of maybe of how to be a mother just from you know, trial and error, or did you do a lot of learning before you actually got pregnant? And do you feel like that was a big part of your journey as well in helping the fertility journey and all of that? Because when I think about myself, I'm like, I haven't really dove into a lot of mother like parenting books or anything yet. But I know when it comes closer to the time, I'll probably be obsessively like reading and all of that. Like I know a lot of my friends have. But yeah, would you say that's a good way to start preparing yourself? Or do you find that more women should be more intuitive and just go with how they feel and trust themselves?
I'm totally on the intuitive side of things. And you know, I've got friends who read every single book, and you know, being a mother isn't by the textbook. It is a lot of intuitive, and we're all different. It changes us so much. And every single day there's something to learn, there's something different to discover. It's a beautiful journey, and it does. It's so transformative. It changes your life. It's just also even more important that you stay in tune with your inner core and who you are, because many women will lose themselves in that mother role, and all of a sudden their children will be 12, 13 years old, and like, oh gosh, what about me? I forgot myself. That's another huge
which I think is so beautiful that you bring up too, because you know, you could have got pregnant and then just been like even more obsessed with just being like, you know, and losing yourself maybe even more in the journey. But it's almost like, you've actually found more of yourself and who you are, which makes you an even better role model and example for like your children. And it kind of, even though the journey was so painful and probably just so difficult at times, and lonely and all of these things, but it's like, now look where you are. And it's like there is this kind of gem of I don't know what the word is, like silver lining to the to the challenges.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I look at challenges as well. See the bigger picture, even if it's, you know, you're going through all this trauma, there's something in that that's pushing us as a being to grow and learn. And for me,
And I know
creating
it
this
doesn't feel
amazing
like
place.
that at the time.
At the time, no.
Yeah, at the time it's like definitely not. So we've,
Yeah.
there's got to be a lot of compassion, and there's got to be, like seek the support and find the support. And I hope, you can find that in the Oh My Mama Body tribe. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, it's such a beautiful journey at the end. And there's so many women who are feeling that there is more from their own personal journey. And thankfully for social media, there's so much more support and guidance out there now.
Yeah.
So definitely do not need to go through any kind of struggles on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else we could touch on? Like, what about IVF? Is that something is that like a last resort that women go to, or is that an option? Or do you work with that? I don't know. I don't really know much about it, to be honest. I'm just.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, IVF wasn't my personal journey, but I have just been recently helping a beautiful lady who has been through IVF, and lots of women will turn to it because things are not just not working out for them. And so IVF is more like, okay, this is not the last resort, but it's something we need to try. Yeah, it doesn't work all the time, but it does have a good success rate for many. And the lady who came to me was very much in tune with energy work and with her womb, had miscarriages, ovarian cysts as well. And, this round was her last chance. And she's like, there's so much stress. I'm nervous. I'm scared. Don't want to have another miscarriage. This is expensive as well, this whole IVF journey. Can you help me? And we did so much beautiful, deep womb work to create that welcoming, loving space, release all the nervousness, the anxiety that was inside from the sadness of previous miscarriages, and all the medical intervention as well. Can't forget that side when you're being poked and prodded. That also puts all sorts of pressure on us. Yeah. And she's come through the other side now. Every time she went to the doctor and had a which stage of the journey on her IVF, or with the injections as well, which are pretty harsh. Yeah, I've been going through and helping her to relax with all these different techniques and remembering that womb connection. Yeah, and now she's on her beautiful pregnancy journey. So it's just so nice to be able to be part of that.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's such an honor. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah. So for anybody listening, like, if the traditional ways are, stressing you out or just making you, wonder, I would really invite you to check out, the Oh My Mama Body tribe, to check out your YouTube, and support yourself in that way, in the not so traditional way of, like, I guess, medicine, but really open yourself up to the spiritual side of things, because I really do think that it makes such a positive impact. It's a really holistic approach, isn't it? It's looking at our human experience as such a holistic experience. It's not just our bodies, and it's not just our minds, and it's not just, it's all of it. It's all of it. And then our connection to God, source, like whatever you believe in as well. And then releasing the blockages too, working with someone like you. So amazing. So I guess the last couple of questions that I ask most of my guests, or all of my guests, is, and it obviously can be specific to, your work, womb healing, but like, what is one piece of life advice that you would leave behind? If you could only leave one thing behind.
There's something that you're truly passionate about and have the drive to do in your life. Do it, no matter what your inner critic is telling you. Do it.
Oh, I love that. Yes, beautiful. And the last one is, if you fill in the blank, you're closer than you think.
Let's give you an example quickly.
like if you listen, like, you know, if you connect to your womb every day, you're closer than you think, or you know, if you do something or whatever it is.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'd say if you connect with your heart and your womb energy every single day, you're closer than you think.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's really inspired me to really be more consciously doing that every day. So thank you.
Thank you as well. It's been really beautiful chatting
It's
with
been
you.
beautiful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, anyone listening, I'm going to post all the things, all the notes, all the places you can find Vicki in the notes. But where would you say most people could find you, or the first place they should go?
Instagram is the best place because
Okay.
I'm really active about what I'm doing there. I mean, obviously my
Okay.
YouTube channel is there as well with so many support videos. If you really want to
Yes.
have that personal connection, and will
Yes.
find me on Instagram, which is Vicki_Oh My Mama Body.
Beautiful. And I'll link that in the show notes as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you.